Welcome to the 5-Year You podcast, a show dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself one day at a time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kat, and we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable.
Are you ready to grow? Hey, 5 Tribe. Today's episode is called How We Lost 50 Pounds. And it's not so much about weight loss, exercise, regimen, but more about why we did what we did and how we never set out for this to happen. I'm Andrew, and with me always is Kat. How are you doing, Kat?
Doing great. I'm excited about this episode.
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea. We've alluded to it through different episodes, and I think it's just time we kind of unpack this, because when we say how we lost 50 pounds, it looks like, wow, you know. Yeah. Normally, if you want to do that, you got to cut off a couple limbs. So and we
didn't do that. Yes, got all the fingers, toes, and arms and legs. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness for that. So let's go back to the beginning, and we start everything with awareness and why. So why did we do this?
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to say before we even started that, if you want to lose weight, we're just sharing our personal experiences. We're not medical professionals, dietitians, nutritionists. We are none of those things. This is a personal development podcast. So the way that we went about this weight loss journey is really a personal development journey. It's a self-improvement journey. It's a mental health journey. This episode is not going to be about, wake up, run 2 miles, come home, eat some leaves. That's not what this is about. So full scope, this process was also not very fast. We didn't set out to do this. We set out to feel better, to be healthier, and to have more energy. And this didn't happen in 6 weeks because we had a beach trip coming up and Andrew wanted to look his best in his bikini. This was not what this is about. Not even a smile cracked. I thought that
I visualized myself in a bikini and it did not look good. I'm like, no.
Anyways.
I'm a one-piece kind of guy anyway.
There you go. So over the course of about a year, lots of trial and error. Andrew lost 30 pounds. I lost 20. And this is how we did it.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, we're definitely not medical professionals, but we did ask people in the field about stuff as we were going through all of this, and there was a lot of learning as we went through different books, and we'll cite some of them for people as we go through it. So take us back for yourself, or for both of us if you want, to what you were feeling before we kind of started switching up our diets and everything else.
I think the biggest thing for me was super low energy. Been through a terrible time. Went through a lot of life changes, got my first place with my kids on my own. We called it the ice cream house because it was in walking distance from 3 different ice cream shops. So you can see where this is going. Yeah, I just, I had always been healthy. So growing up, I danced my whole life. So I wouldn't even say that I was necessarily overweight. I just didn't feel good. I wanted to take a nap every day. I was exhausted. I was really run down being a solo parent to my kids. And I just wanted to get back to feeling like myself. And I think a lot of moms can relate to that. I wanted to get back to a place where not necessarily like I was this 20-year-old dancer, but just to feel like someone who was vivacious, who had energy, who had excitement. I had gotten some autoimmune diagnoses, which made a lot of sense. Just mental health wise, my physical health reflected my mental health, and it wasn't good. I am a totally different person now, about a year and a half later from when I started. But that was sort of the beginning of feeling like I'm not going to be able to do my job. I'm not going to be able to have enough energy to get to the end of the day and still be my best self at bedtime if I don't figure out how to feel better inside of my body.
I like that. Yeah, it was bless the ice cream house. We had a lot of ice cream there.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, it was really good.
So just move. That's how you do it.
Don't live near ice cream. No. For me, listeners, when I started this, it was a very different idea. I was at the end of my taking SSRI, and it was not working for me. And I've since found out that my body was actually producing enough serotonin, which is what that was providing me. It was a different issue that we don't need to get into right now. But I knew that coming off of this medication, I was going to need to have a new way of being, or else it was going to be really bad. So the first thing I looked at was for both of us was how food can cause inflammation in your body if you have the wrong foods, and everybody's different for that, though there are some pretty common culprits. It was about eating better for like an anti-inflammatory diet, because there are certain things that cause inflammation. And just like, when you have a meal or you go out for fast food and there's a whole bunch of things in there that aren't good for you, you feel kind of bloated afterwards in your body. Well, your brain is also feeling that bloat. And when your brain feels inflamed, you feel more anxious, you feel more worried, you'd have terrible thoughts depending on what kind of person you are. And I was going through all of that. And that's when I realized, okay, I need to understand my body and how it works. And I wasn't, yeah, I was, 30 pounds heavier, and that sucked because the drugs had kept me on the couch for months. I remember you saying to you, like, I know I need to get up and move, and I physically cannot do that right now. So switching the diet wasn't set for weight loss. It was set for feeling better. And I'm trying to think of the first book, but one of the big books that we read and tried our best to comprehend was The Plant Paradox.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was really interesting because for me, it led me to understand that most of our serotonin is in our digestive system. It's in our intestines. And if you are eating the wrong foods, you are destroying your gut biome. And that makes everything harder for you. You're not digesting your food. You're not getting the right chemicals to your brain and everything. And it really kind of you start to see it as your gut is like the second brain. Some people argue it's your first brain because it's actually sending the signals to your brain, not the other way around. I think it's like 9-1 gut signals going to your brain versus coming down. That one was really interesting because it led us into genetics and all these cool things. And it was basically, I'll pare it down to a few sentences here, but we are eating in a way on this continent. We're in North America, and our genealogy goes back to Europe, and we're essentially speed dating in the food world right now, eating lectins, which is really fine if you've grown up, if your ancestry is on this continent, you're used to this. But Northern Europe, where my heritage is from and DNA is from, isn't used to eating lectins, which are things like tomatoes, peppers. Trying to think of the big culprits here. All these like lectin foods that I had never heard of this term before were killing my gut biome, and they're doing that to a lot of us from the sounds of it. And when you start to eat without those, your gut is able to start to flourish again. The other thing we did was remove glyphosate, which is Roundup food. So we started eating organic because that is another thing that I think they tested, like, I can't remember how many kids, but it was like every kid had glyphosate in their system because we're all eating foods that are sprayed with pesticides. And that, again, has this impact on our gut biome, which is really, really important for a healthy life. And when you treat your gut well, you start to feel better in all these different ways. And his newest book is Dr. Stephen Gundry, and I'm just finishing it up. It's called Gut Check. He has another one coming out too about, I think it's called Gut Brain. And it's all about how if you take care of your gut and your gut buddies, as he says, then you're going to be taking care of your body and your brain. And that's really been what happened for us. Was we started taking care of our insides, and then the weight loss was a result of it afterwards.
That's right. I felt like I had to go slowly with a lot of these things. Andrew's so smart. He can read all of these books and digest everything and organize it and do this sort of deep dive. And so the blessing that I had was that Andrew would go through these things and read all these books and then be like, okay, I think this applies to you. And bought the 23andMe like full health package for me, I think for my birthday one year. And for him. And that's how we both found out that we had gluten sensitivities. And, he would just go and like scour through these books, and anything that talked about autoimmune or inflammation or anything like that, he would bring it to my attention. And I know that the food thing is hard for people. And again, we're referencing these books. We're not coming at this as, medical experts, but we're just sharing some of the books that led us down this journey. We weren't really trying to shed the weight, but it happened anyway. It's hard for me because I grew up in South Louisiana, and it's not an exaggeration to say that we have some of the best food in the entire world in South Louisiana. We are known for it. New Orleans and the surrounding areas, we're known for our cuisine. And I remember telling my parents like what I was trying to do, and they were like, that sounds like the most boring way to eat I have ever heard of. And I'm like, I know, but I'm hurting, I'm exhausted. I was having like autoimmune flare ups and all of these things. My doctor told me that I was right on the borderline of lupus, and I was trying to find a way to not have that for the rest of my life. And so every time I wanted to eat something, I thought about how it was going to make me feel. I didn't count the calories. I didn't like put it into an app. I didn't say, oh no, I can't have this, handful of nuts because I'm over my calorie count. All I did was learn what foods made me feel bad, and I stopped eating them. And it sounds simple because it was. We kept a running joint iPhone note with a list of foods, and it would say like, does it make Andrew feel bad? Okay, does it make Kat feel bad? And we would keep a running list of it and just try to avoid them. And we backtracked numerous times. We'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
surely we can have bread. Maybe that was something else. And then we'd just, eat a loaf of French bread and be like, nope, no, it really was bread. Dang it.
Yeah, it's really, really important to test things because there's some things that we didn't want to give up. I know for me, for years, I would eat steak and I'd be feeling really bad afterwards. And I'm like, I wonder why. And then I gave my DNA information to a naturopath and a nutritionist, and she said like your genes are actually saying beef is bad for you. So I kind of knew it, like my body knew it. My brain was like, but we like hamburgers and all these good things. So
Yeah.
it's just sometimes you have to look at it and go, yeah, this sucks. And now if I do have beef, I understand that I can only have a little, and it's like a once a month thing, or once a season thing, not an everyday thing. But there are a lot of positives that come from that, because when you start to eat better, you don't crave certain things. Like I had the biggest sweet tooth ever, and Kat will attest to this. Like we get together, I'm like, we should go for ice cream, and then as I was walking back from having ice cream, I'm like, we should get more ice cream right now. And it was just always that kind of journey. And then I found out that dairy's not good for me. Big surprise, because I think, like, I don't know, cattle are sacred to me, apparently, or something from another lifetime. I'm not really sure. But in doing that, there was this ability to cut out sugar and start enjoying sweet things. Like we like figs and dates and fresh berries now. If I had had a box of cookies in my place, they didn't last the day. And like whether it was like a thing of Oreos or Fudgios or any of those kind of cookies, I would eat a whole box in a day. And that's really not good for anybody to do, but I knew I did it. Now I'm at a place where, my son will keep some desserts here, and that box will stay in there for like a couple of weeks without me touching them. I just have no cravings for them whatsoever anymore. And that's really, really wild, because I would not have believed that this time last year if you had said you're going to be able to have like all the sweets in the world in your place and you're not going to crave them.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen on day one. That's like day 365.
Yeah.
And when we were going through this, it was small steps throughout the way. And we also made the mistake of doing some big steps and too much too fast. Do you want to talk about what happened when we did that?
Well, I will say one thing that was super interesting to me is that as part of all this, as part of some of the pain I was in, I had severe pain in my rib. I did all these different things and went to doctors and had to get steroids to make it feel better and all these things. I could not make it go away. And we're talking about just persistent over a year, hard to sit up in bed. And then we did a 3-day fast. It was very difficult. I mean, I found it to be one of the most challenging things I've done. I made sure to do it at a time where my kids weren't with me. I felt everyone was like, oh, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel like conquering the world on day 2. That did not happen for me. But the thing that did happen is after a 3-day fast, my rib pain went away. It was the first time I had been pain-free. And that was the moment that I was like, it's food. There's something I'm eating that's making this for, basically it wasn't muscular. It wasn't something else. It's not something I needed to go to PT for. It's food. Food is causing this. And that kind of led me down a different path. A few months later, we tried to do something else. We were supposed to do a week of like just vegetables. I think that was the meanest I've ever been in my whole life when we did that. It's okay to confirm. I said that. It
Yeah,
was a
no,
bad week.
yeah,
But
there have been multiple times where
we
I
went
tend to
too
get
hard.
overzealous and drag you along with me with things, and
I'm like,
I
okay,
will
I
own
like
my part of
vegetables.
that. I'm like, yeah, I think when you're going through this stuff, it really is listening to your body. I kind of get into that bad mindset of like, no, I said I'm going to run 5 miles today and I'm going to run 5 miles. I don't care if I've broken both my legs the night before, I'm still going to do it. And that's not a great way to handle things. So I think being flexible with the approach, and I know with you too, on like on that day two of fasting, you're like, I'm really not doing good. And since then, we've looked at why that could be, and there's a great
Hmm.
book on that for women fasting by Dr. I think
Yeah.
Mindy Pelz, awesome speaker. We saw her at Hay House last year, and just knowing that what a male fast is and a female fast are very different, especially with your
Yeah.
cycles and everything else. And
Exactly.
yeah, I'm trying to remember the vegetable fast. Eating, I think I've like mentally blocked that
Block
out.
that out. Oh my God. I felt bad. But
Yeah.
so, anyways, all that to say is like this has been a whole journey. And another thing I want to touch on, just because this is so me. If you've heard some of our episodes before, you might know that Andrew and I have a finance background. He's a CPA. I wrote a money book. And so if you hear us say like we switched to all organic food, you might be like, well, I can't afford that. And so I actually want to be the one to say it's amazing what you can afford when you're not buying a lot of the little snacks and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I have a really simple grocery order. And so it's easy for me to put 3 packs of organic chicken in my cart because I'm not putting chips and Coke and different things like that. Like my kids know if they get like a little fizzy drink or something like that, it is like a big thing for them. It's just, I'll order them pizza. They'll get Domino's for movie night, and I might get a gluten-free pizza or I might not. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling and how the week's going. Because even still, a year and a half after the fact, things change and different things impact me and different combinations of things. It's really been a learning journey. I think the big part of our success with this, and I'm going to call it a success because we have dramatically transformed our lives. And now it's just sort of like a system. And it's just like who it has become, like eating healthy is now like who we are. It has become a part of our being, a part of our identity. It's not like there are people who like they're always on a diet or anything like that. It's like this is just like who we have decided to be. And so now where all the decisions are very difficult in the beginning, especially as we were getting a lot of those cravings out of our systems, now it just is. And so I think a big part of our success was that we went on this journey for us. The whole purpose wasn't to lose weight. The purpose was my mental health is trash. I'm getting very close to having some serious autoimmune diagnoses. I'm barely able to get through my day. I've been through a really hard time in my personal life. I have got to feel better in this lifetime. My kids deserve a mom who feels better. And I just didn't allow like diet culture or the media or any of that to influence how I'm supposed to look. I just think that there are so many people who yo-yo diet. They go up and down. And by focusing on the mental health aspect of it and asking myself in my brain, will future me appreciate this choice? Will future me appreciate that I ate this? I am looking at, whatever, the very end of this French bread roll that I made all my kids' lunch sandwiches with. And all I want to do is like slather it in butter and like it's going to be so good. And then like the me of tomorrow is going to have severe pain. And it's just, is it worth my day tomorrow? And that's just how I approached it. And I think because of that, and instead of yo-yoing all the way back and gaining 20 pounds back, this is now just how I live. And that's been the biggest difference I see than what your typical diet culture, how to lose 50 pounds kind of advice is.
Yeah, I would echo that as well. I think for me, it was more of a mental health journey than an actual weight loss journey. It was a
It
mental health
was.
journey that had the benefit of losing weight, which was not the intended thing. It was just trying to feel better. I would also, I want to go back to what you said about the grocery shopping, because I think that is just a thing to get your head around.
Yes.
When we shop now, we pretty much go through the produce and the like the chicken section. I don't know if we ever really get pork or steak for ourselves or anything else
Mm-mm.
anymore. Maybe as a treat, like I said, once a
Yeah.
quarter. But we don't typically go down like the pop aisle or the junk food aisle, the chips, the all those things. And yeah, it's hard at first, but it's really not that expensive when you're eating healthy, because when you eat healthy, you remove those additives that are in the foods that are designed to make you eat more. If you've ever read the book Salt, Sugar, Fat, there's like salt that people put on their chips to make you want to eat more. The slogan, "You can't just eat one," is because there are things on these that are designed to make you eat more. The apple culture, the apple farmers aren't putting these things on their apples so you can eat more. Natural foods naturally satiate you and you don't feel like having more of them. It's usually when you get into those non-whole foods that make
Mm-hmm.
you feel that you need more and more and more. And once you get those out of your system, it's a lot easier to eat less, but there is going to be an adjustment period. And I wish I found a way around it, but there wasn't that
Yeah.
we could see. I just want to get some things out too, because I know people are going to have questions about this. So we did not exercise. I did not do
Yes.
a single sit up.
I was going to say that too. I was thinking in my head, don't forget to tell them that this year is our exercise journey year, that we didn't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Like in our layers of life, we have the center is our soul, but the second layer is our self. And one of the things is, spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. And we are really focused on our physical right now, because now that we have the right fuel coming in, we can do more with it. And we're going, okay, well, we're getting older. We want to make sure that we have strength. We want to make sure we have energy. We want to make sure that we're flexible. So these are the things that we're doing in year 2 for that physical body of ours. The physical body really wasn't the focus last year. It was the emotional body and mental body that were like, this isn't right. Let's adjust these things. Another thing that we did, you really had this because your rib pain started to come back after you were in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And we found that there's a website. It's the EWA website, and it gives you the heavy metals and like the breakdown of your water composition. And yours had, I can't remember if it was like lead or arsenic, but like it was like really high levels. So we got you just a countertop 3-filter system that removed all of these heavy
Yeah.
metals, and your rib pain went away in what, days from that? Like it
Yeah.
was really fast.
Yeah, because I did have a Brita when I got here. And then you told me, like, you did your research and you were like, no, you got to get this kind of thing because this is got 3 filters on it and it does all this stuff. I will say, like, my rib pain is kind of slight, but it's nowhere near as debilitating as it was. And I have done full workups, full blood work, even got an ultrasound to see if it was like gallstones, things like that. None of that is happening. And because it fluctuates, leads me to believe that it's something with food, inflammation, muscular, something like that. And so, it's better than it ever has been. I can't believe I lived with it for so long without getting some type of help for it. But changing the water really took it down from like, a steady hum of a pain of 1 on the scale to like a 0.5.
Some other things that we tried that have been hugely beneficial were we started adding supplements into our diet.
Mm-hmm.
And we take
Dake.
some vitamins. We take Dake and minerals, and I take some vitamin B and a few other things. And all of those we just weren't getting enough from what we were reading. So we tried taking them, and then we've tried taking them out, and we do notice that, oh my goodness, yeah, like not having these minerals is really impacting my energy and my mood
Yep.
and stuff like that. So it kind of sucks to experiment sometimes when you take things out and you're like, wow, I really still need that. For me, I have a fish and seafood allergy, so I take vegan omega-3 oil, and that's really helped my brain as far as that goes. And our friend Eric at A Mind for All Seasons has been really great with giving us advice, and you should definitely check him out because he's got some amazing resources for helping your brain. And again, once you take care of your body, the insides, the weight it can take care of itself depending on other situations. I'm not going to say this will fix everything because
No,
it's
yeah.
not how it is. It was just for us, we ate better.
I agree. And the point of this episode is to explain that this was not a weight loss journey. This was a self-worth journey. After, going through tough times for both of us, we decided to start actually giving a hoot about ourselves and how we were feeling after taking care of kids and pouring ourselves into the kids and all of this stuff, we decided to say, it matters how I feel. It matters how I want to show up. And I know that a lot of adults relate to this. The world can get so busy. It can be such a hurdle, at least it is for me, to even book a doctor's appointment. Like the things that have to line up and childcare and work and all these things to even go get blood work it just takes so much. And so the act of telling yourself that you care enough about you to go on this journey, that is what the real transformation is. It's just one decision at a time. How will this food make me feel tomorrow? Will I be happy with myself? Will I be happy with my energy tomorrow? It's taking the time to, if you want to take vitamins, minerals, things like that, it took us a few tries to find what works for me. We take slightly different things. Men and women need slightly different things. If you do this with your spouse, just know ahead of time that, men tend to lose weight faster, than women. It might be a little bit of a slower roll for women. Yeah, every good choice, every time that you make a decision, and as you go on, you will find like what the little treats are for you too. We like the brand Siete. So if we do feel like having chips and fresh guacamole, those are grain free. And now they make so many things. They even make taco shells. Like I used to not be able to do taco night with my kids, but now I can do, ground turkey, a Siete chip shell. And so you can over time like figure out little ways to treat yourself. But once you start to feel better, to just food becomes something that's just fuel. It's your medicine for the day. And I don't know how it happens, but slowly all of a sudden you realize that you don't need treats when you feel good. We go for treats when we are feeling bad, when we want a little pick me up. And when you feel better, the need for those just it goes away. And there's so many different side effects, including, my hair grew really long, skin got better, all of these different things. And it wasn't because I went and ordered, $500 of medical grade skincare. I just started putting better things in my body and all of these other things happened. So don't give up if this is a journey that you've tried to start, and realize that we really wanted to emphasize that this weight loss, it was a whole year journey. And now we've had about 6 months of kind of maintenance. And now we're trying to become people who exercise daily. We are trying to make that a part of our identity as people, as a couple, because the healthy food is now cemented in. And so we'll definitely update them on the exercise part too. Still working on making it a habit, y'all. It takes time, but we know it does.
Time. But we're doing better with it. Like we're starting to, it's nicer. So we're starting to get the habit of going out for walks and stuff. I think you were touching on something I was thinking about, and it's that we often eat out of boredom.
Yeah.
We eat for entertainment. It's become a way of just keeping ourselves distracted at night or during the day. You feel bad. I mean, you and I were both like if you fast for a day or two, not recommending it, but if you choose to, you will be amazed at how often you get up to go get food in a day, or how often your day is centered around snacks and food. And just having that awareness for us that was, I think, the biggest takeaway from fasting. I mean, there was good things.
It blew my mind. I realized food was like how I procrastinated from doing my work. I could not believe how many times during the day that I fasted when I had to work, I could not believe how many times I wanted to get out of my desk and go to the kitchen, because I guess I just didn't want to start writing my paragraphs or whatever. I just was like, I just need to get a snack and then I'll get started on this work. Like 10 times a day. Like it blew my mind. I'm like, wow, not only is this like a boredom thing for many people, but I am using food as a procrastination tool. I didn't know until I did the fast.
Yeah, it's really cool, right? And it was the same for me. We'd be chatting and I'd be like, why am I in my pantry right now? I mean, I'm not eating today. And it was just
I talking to her from inside of here.
And I'm looking around, I'm like, how did I get here just now? Who walked me over here? Because it was so subconscious. It's just programmed in. Like, I feel something in my body. I should put something in my mouth. And that was like literally the repeating broken record. So some of the books that I read, I figured it would be good to kind of share with that. So we mentioned a few of them, but I'll go back over them. Some of the resources were The Plant Paradox by Stephen R. Gundry. His newest one is Gut Check, which expounds on that, and it kind of gives the Plant Paradox 2.0 diet or program. It's not really a diet because I don't like the term diet. Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pelz. Fast This Way by Dave Asprey was another one. Calm Your Mind with Food. I'm forgetting the author on that one. I apologize. But I think that was like the first one that's like, these foods are bad for your brain. And that was like kind of what got me into all the other books. I'm trying to think if there's any other books, but those are the 4 or 5 that really we've gone back to.
Any Googling on the gut brain connection is good. And now I'm noticing as I'm telling other doctors and healthcare providers about the autoimmune stuff, I think it's becoming more commonplace and common knowledge that there is a gut brain connection. And I forgot to say that we totally reversed all of my autoimmune markers. Yeah. From I don't know if it was like a year and a half apart or 2 years apart, but everything that said like you are right underneath a lupus diagnosis, all of that stuff, all of those biomarkers, everything was totally clean when I moved to Chicago, got a new doctor, and just unbelievable. Didn't take any autoimmune meds or anything like that. It's just this total lifestyle change. It's been unbelievable.
You cured yourself with food, right? And lack of other foods too. And of course, sleep and water and all these things factor into, and stress. And I really wanted to make sure you touched on that. And that is great. The gut-brain barrier, the thing that this newest book, and again, science can change, but if you're interested in it, they're finding that leaky gut is what is causing autoimmune things, Alzheimer's. A lot of things are being attributed to having a bad gut biome. And I'm not going to get into leaky gut because I'm not a medical professional, but it's basically good foods make your gut lining solid, bad ones kind of puncture little holes in it that things can get through. So that's really been the big thing for us, is like, is this going to help our gut or is it going to hurt our gut? And we're getting more in tune with our bodies that when it hurts, we're like, yeah, whatever, something happened yesterday and one of those things that we had that was not right. So we gotta make a list and figure it out. But yeah, food for us now is really boring. I think we can safely say that too. Like, it's not
everyone.
Yeah, no, but you know what? There's a benefit of that, is that it takes your brain out of trying to make it exciting. And every time you see, like, I can drive by fast food without even thinking about it. Whereas like every time was like, oh, what treat can I get this time? Complete reversal of all that stuff over the course of a year and a half. So you can do it. And if you need help, of course, we offer life coaching and clarity coaching on how you can go through with life. We're not medical advisors or anything like that. We're not professionals in that capacity. But if that is something that you want to look at as part of your 5-year plan, we do have is part of our offer.
We help with the mindset aspect of it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, this is a longer episode, but I really do feel like we unpacked a lot in it. And I think we should get to our glimmers, unless there's anything else you want to say.
Yeah, I feel like that was my glimmer, the fact that there were no autoimmune markers. And that was just a month ago that we found that out. And I was we were both so excited about that. So I think that was my glimmer. What about you?
I'm going to say that was my glimmer too, because I know that you were I remember you saying like, nobody's ever taken the time to look into this stuff for me.
Yeah.
And you were worth it. You were worth me researching it and doing stuff. And I was so determined to be able to help you. So you getting those results last month, even when you say it now, it's still just like, it almost brings tears to my eyes.
I was about to say, you're going to make me tear up. That's so nice. Yeah.
Because, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think having you as a partner is what made this possible.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really kind of you to say.
I know.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions or you're ready to get started on your 5-year journey, you can just send us an email at hello@5yearyou.com and we will happily talk with you. You guys have a great day.
Bye.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.